evil, regardless of whatever beliefs and sense of justice and righteousness a man may have. That cannot exist without the acknowledgement that there is evil, and it is among us. For whatever reason, there's like this mass belief that there's a subspecies, a species that is reptilian in nature, and that they are in power on the earth, and that they live and exist among us, and that they push their culture upon real people. I believe that to a degree, this may be correct. There's a saying that all fiction is based on some fact, and it's not difficult to see that this may possibly be true. Now, if there's one thing that we know about reptiles, it's that they're cold-blooded creatures and they lay eggs. People, men, women, cows, dogs, cats, anything with hair is considered to be a mammal. Mammals are warm-blooded and they do not lay eggs. Now, an interesting thing about our culture, or the culture that inhabits the earth, a culture of supposed science. One thing that you learn in school that they constantly tell you and hit you over the head with over and over again is that women have eggs. And if a woman doesn't lay her egg in a man's seminal fluid for the month, then that egg is bled out of her. It's secreted through blood, through her vaginal walls, and she releases it, supposedly. However, they still in the same sentence will tell you that a woman is a mammal, and that mammals don't lay eggs, and that mammals are warm-blooded. And we all know in our heart of hearts, deep in the recesses of our minds, where we can still easily entertain reality, that no other creature on this earth bleeds for 4 or 5 days out of the month. And that in itself should be a red herring. It should be a red flag. It should be a caution sign. However, we're conditioned to overlook this. We're conditioned to think this is normal. This is just something that every woman goes through. Don't think too much about it, and that it's supposedly a good thing. I believe that we're basically being shown reality. We're being shown a truth. And we're given an option. We can either accept that truth or we can turn from it. The truth is, whether or not a woman has eggs inside of her is irrelevant. The truth is, women bleed every month. Now, the reason for that is very important. In my opinion, it can be due to a toxicity in a blood type that once it's built up so much, it has no choice but to release some of the toxicity. This is a much more logical reasoning for that than anything else that I've ever heard. As for whether or not women are mammals or reptiles, I think you can make a valid argument for both. And the reason why I say that is because if women do have eggs inside of them, if women have eggs and they've just been hiding this overtly, women and the act of sex is completely unnatural, and that we as men have been lied to. It's common belief in certain circles that women have mitochondrial DNA. That's a DNA that is compatible with basically any species. A DNA where a woman can reproduce with any creature and be the progenitor of new and different bloodlines, blood types, and creatures. I'm not saying I believe this, but there are some who hold this belief. And in the belief that they hold in the mitochondrial DNA, they believe in chimeras being produced from women engaging in sexual acts with horses, and from that union creating a half man, half horse called a centaur, and women engaging in sexual relations with dogs, creating werewolves, and so on and so forth. These beliefs held by people have all been rooted in past civilizations. Civilizations that worshipped women as deities. Civilizations that were supposedly reptilian in nature. Serpents, the term serpent is associated with a snake due to the Book of Remembrance, i.e. the Bible. It's referenced as a very sly, sneaky person. A person doesn't necessarily mean a man. It could mean a reptilian type creature with a man-like body, but still a reptile, someone who's sneaky and willfully deceives. In our culture today, in our society today, one of the greatest things that can cause offense is insulting a woman. And one of the greatest insults to women is not trusting them. It's offensive to not trust a woman, and it's offensive to question women. The only things that don't like to be questioned are lies and people who tell them. The reason why is because these lies, these untruths cannot stand up to logic, and they can't stand up to the truth. Either one of these things will decimate a liar. If we pay close attention to women, and we pay close attention to the behavior of a serpent, and if we pay close attention to snakes, they all bear very common similarities. However, the snake, unlike any other creature, crawls on its belly. And that was supposedly a curse that was put on it due to the deception, due to the serpent behavior. So when we see women and they behave in these manners, and what we know about them from observable reality is that they are habitual liars and deceivers, and their base nature is one of sexual conquest, one of base desires. We have two choices as men. We can either accept the reality of the situation, and the reality being that women are essentially serpents, based solely on their nature, on their default presets. Or we can turn from that logic and go with society and believe women are the progenitors of all races, and society falls apart without them, even though they are in abundance. And in my opinion, society has never fallen further from truth and logic. And it appears to anyone with a brain that where we are right now is at a critical point where we as people are running out of resources, where the earth has been corrupted to the point where the water makes you more thirsty when you drink it, where the sunlight, due to the smog and toxins in the air, can cause more harm for you to take in some sunlight from the environment as opposed to you just existing in a natural state outside. There's corruption in mass on every level. And in terms of a serpentine behavior, in terms of snakes, these entities all share one commonality, and that is in who they are and what they tell us through their actions. Something to think about. Peace.